Welcome. My name is Janet Grace Attard, and I'm here to introduce to you the Attard methodology, caring for the caregiver. I am advisor for J. Oliver Maxwell, and I'm honored to speak to everyone tonight, something that I have been putting together for a very long time. I have been a healthcare worker, a nurse, for greater than 35 years. I've been a financial advisor for greater than 20 years. And what I've come to know is that caregivers are magnificent at caring for everyone else, but nobody ever taught them how to care for themselves. So this whole process is all about you. It's all about learning how to care for yourself and to empower yourself while you're resuscitating the baby, while you're performing everything you need to do to stop the hemorrhage, to manage the patient in the ER, the ICU, and the maternity unit. And so this is a survival framework, a pilot project that I'm starting, and a stewardship framework for all physicians, for all healthcare workers. I'm drawing from decades at the bedside, catastrophic outcomes that we all have witnessed, and our lives are built upon one catastrophic event after another, leaving us with nothing. And so the wellness of the physician before burnout, the ability to pay down debt, the ability to not have financial stress and put together a business practice before exhaustion sets in. So I'm very, very honored to be with you today. That this is for anyone who is a student in nursing, in dentistry, in medicine, any residency programs, any students, physician wellness. I'm looking forward to helping actually everyone. The structure is wide and deep. I'm starting with section 1. And so we're just going to go and take it away. And I'm just happy you're here with me today. And so we're just going to make sure that everything that we do is done all for you. And so here we go. So all I'm going to say is that legacy planning, which is what this is all about, we start with the end in sight. It is not luck-based. It is structurally based. And as we all know, we come out of medical school, nursing school, dental school with tons of debt. And the ability to get to a certain place, i.e., there is a couple by the name of Mary and Mark Stevens, who in 2023 left a donation of over $100 million to establish a medical school with Sutter Health and UCSF. So bravo. So how do we get there? And how do we tithe back, whether as the Roosevelt family to our own families or to the creation of something phenomenal? It's not an accident. I train and build each and every one of my clients to become legacy based, create their story. It's a systematic approach, not exactly just goals, but it's putting together, excuse me, a system so that you are individually trained to build your own life and to save your own inner structure, whether it's the creation of your business to enhance your value, to take your family and enhance the value of your family. And how do we do it? How do we make it possible? How did the Stevens family make it possible for them? And right now, who's teaching you? So, quote, in any moment of decision, the best thing you can do is the right thing. The next best thing is the wrong thing, and the worst thing is to do nothing. So, what is this about? Well, financial fitness is not about perfection. but it's about the decision to start thinking about you and put you first and move on from there. And what I mean by that is we're going to dedicate ourselves, and I hold people accountable to save more, to learn more about investing, and to get wise about it. So I have reached out to every medical school in the United States. I am developing pilot projects. I'm teaching, I'm mentoring, and I am holding people accountable to protect them, to help them grow, and to establish the tree so that when you're in the hypertensive crisis, you know that when you leave, your money's working for you and you're doing what you need to do to grow yourself as well as to help everyone in the hospital. So that's where we're at. So let's move on. So step one, and this is part one, step one. So we'll move on. This video today is all about part one. And I'm just honored because I'm a nurse forever, as well as a financial advisor. I am an NRP instructor, have been for centuries. But let's move on because I'm all about mentoring everyone that I've ever worked with, either as a professor or as a financial advisor. But it's just important to help each other grow. And so step one is about the art of creating financial fitness for yourself. So what do we need to do? Well, we need to stabilize before we accelerate. And so what does this involve? Either you come to my farm and we walk and we talk about, what was your history about money? And do you talk to your spouse about money? Do you already have a plan in place so that we don't even really need to worry about it? You can mentor it yourself. So before the first luxury car or before the larger home and before the pressure to look successful, what do we need to do? Well, we need to pause. And medicine is not only a profession, it's a calling, and it's a power because it consumes you behind that white coat. And we become that 24/7. Sometimes, and I'm very guilty of it, I'm the one who always came to the 16-hour shift savior. Jan can save the day. And so the young physician or resident, and you know what I mean, and you know who you are. You enter medicine carrying your educational debt, you're sleep deprived, you have tons of responsibility, sometimes emotional trauma from sometimes that procedure that didn't go as planned, and an overwhelming desire to save lives. But then comes the first hemorrhage. Then comes the first hypertensive crisis, the first failed resuscitation, the first patient loss that follows you home. At the very same moment, medicine demands extraordinary clinical judgment. So, unfortunately, the healthcare provider, the physician, often has little structure protection in their financial and emotional well-being. The discussion we're having today is not about greed, not about getting rich. It's about gaining stability. And financial fitness begins with an emergency fund, debt awareness, protection, disciplined spending, and preserving the ability to think clearly under pressure. So, unfortunately, the physician under financial chaos is more vulnerable to burnout, poor decisions, exhaustion, fear, and loss of professional freedom. So before we build wealth, we protect. Before we invest, we must understand cash flow. We must create security. The goal is not extravagance. The goal is independence, resilience, and the preservation of the caregiver. Why? Because the physician matters. The family matters. The life outside the hospital matters. And this is the beginning of financial fitness in the world of medicine. And this is all about, hopefully, what my legacy will be. And I'm dedicated to this in each and every day of my life. So we've already gone through all this. The goal is independence. The goal is resilience. The goal is preservation of the caregiver, wellness of the caregiver, so that when things happen in life, you're protected. When things happen in life, you can get that second house because you've planned accordingly. You're saving the 20 to 30%. At the end of the day, the physician matters. The family matters. We're going to think twice before we do the double and then the double and then the double. Why? Because family and life outside the hospital matters. On many accounts, I will be honest, my family always said, Mom, you were always at the hospital. And I was. And so hopefully my goal is to change that for you a little bit, because we don't need to just live within the hospital. We need to live within our family, and we need to make family very important. Step 2, what do we have to do at the outset? Well, every time I meet with someone, it takes me quite a long time because I really want to get to know people. I want to set up an asset map. I want to look at nitrogen wealth, which is riskalyze, which is analyzing risk. We want to go through e-money, and we want to make sure we know where every little penny is located. I need to make sure that I know what is held and what is not held. Is there an estate plan? And if not, why not? Because the emergency or the tragedy can happen tomorrow. So I refer you to specialists, experts, attorneys to make sure that your safety net is in place. But what are we doing in step 2? We're looking at an emergency fund. You break your leg. You have an accident. So why every physician needs oxygen before they start the whole investment process. And what do I mean by needing oxygen? Well, we need to take a breath. We make our patients take a breath. We need to take a breath. And what does that mean? That means holding on to ourselves, standing up straight, doing some good exercises, making sure we look ourselves in the eye, and if we look exhausted, take time to rest. Take time to eat right. The body under stress, the immunological system really gets affected. And quite unfortunately, after doubles and doubles and doubles and doubles and doubles, a couple of years ago, I was sitting charge in the hospital and couldn't feel my legs. I was given the opportunity to be admitted into the trauma unit and be seen by the most extraordinary neurologist. And when he did the spinal tap, they thought either MS or transverse myelitis. And it came to be that I was started on IVIG immediately. I have another story where a friend of mine wasn't handled quite as expeditiously as I was. So I was blessed. But what do we need because we're under such immense stress? We need disability insurance. We need to have litigation awareness. We need to have close relationships under pressure. We need to protect ourselves against burnout. And to some degree, we need to have delayed gratification. Because in order to build long-term wealth, we need to get strong internally. And unfortunately, I was born with a credit card in my hand. And my husband was very, very frugal. And he meant well, but I think he wanted to change me in ways that I didn't understand what he meant. But the long-term outlook of saving creates miracles in lifetime. So please, if you're not ready today, if you can't hear me, please at one point try to hear me and make a difference and love yourself, because you're building something much deeper than financial education. You're building your family, you're building your business, you're building your life. You need to love yourself. You need to love your family and your ability to be the best doctor out there. So I have nothing but gratitude for each one of you, but protect yourself. It matters. So again, don't burn out. Pay off that debt. Create a legacy plan. So important. Build long-term wealth. If you haven't read Think and Grow Rich, a phenomenal way to experience whatever you vividly imagine and truly believe will come to pass. It takes having that, as they say in the book, the burning desire in order to make it happen. And believe me, if you get on a roadmap and you read that book, you will understand what it's trying to say. So we move on. And this is all part of the process that I present to medical schools. And we go step by step by step. And we go through part one. And then we move on. But the beginning is basically mindset. I have to know that if I'm working with someone, I'll feel it immediately if they're not on board. And then I can't work with them, because the process of working with somebody who really isn't on board, we don't get anywhere. So the next step is all about protection, because we can't go on. And I can't build a long-term relationship if you're not protecting yourself. So before you do any kind of regular investing, aggressive investing, lifestyle inflation, before you try to catch up, my goodness gracious, we need to protect. And what is that? Protection is long-term disability insurance, life insurance, malpractice insurance, health insurance, umbrella policies. And we learn about each and every one of these. This is just a foundational lecture. So the physician's greatest asset is not the diploma. It is not the title. It's not even future income. It is the ability to think clearly, to work skillfully, and care for others over decades. One illness, one injury, one unexpected diagnosis, one lawsuit, one moment of burnout, and everything can change. Young physicians are often taught how to diagnose disease, manage crisis, save lives, yet few are taught how to protect their own financial future, family, and professional stability. Protection is not weakness. Protection is wisdom. Protection means, as we've said, disability insurance before dependence on income, life insurance before family crisis, emergency reserves before market speculation, malpractice awareness before litigation, health preservation before exhaustion, legal and financial structure before complexity. Too many professionals build outward success on an unstable foundation. The goal is not fear, the goal is resilience. So therefore, the physician who's protected will think more clearly, practice more confidently, sleep more peacefully, and lead with greater freedom. At the end of the day, protection creates stability, Stability will create confidence. Confidence will create long-term freedom. At the end, we protect the caregiver. We protect the family. We protect the future, and then we build. And then we build. So again, protect before you progress. And that's all we have to say. Step 4, debt, discipline, delayed gratification. Can we do that? And I will say probably one of the biggest lessons that I've learned in my life. And it comes after years and years of being extremely privileged. Vacations came easy, school was paid for, weekend skiing. I was blessed. Money was not talked about, it was just given. Debt was easily accumulated. But we can't live like that. And so part of this whole process, my friends, is as I mentor you, I have mentored myself and made immense changes over the years. So come with me, if you dare, make change and watch your future change. As Warren Buffett says, and Charlie Munger, the first 100,000 is the hardest. After that, it becomes easy. I have had clients in very few years put together a portfolio that they could never have imagined they put together. So high incomes do not equal financial stability. Debt can quietly control your life if you don't watch out for it. Student loans can create emotional and financial pressure. Lifestyle inflation can begin with the first attending's paycheck. So appearances are not wealth. Financial discipline will create freedom. Delayed gratification will create long-term strength. Every dollar spent will affect future independence. Wealth will be built slowly through structure and consistency. So learn to separate need from appearance. So we will build cash flow before luxury. We will reduce toxic debt aggressively. And we will avoid becoming house rich and freedom poor. Discipline will protect future opportunity. And freedom comes from ownership, not appearances. The goal is not to impress. The goal is stability, independence, and peace of mind. So at the end of the day, we're going to live below our means. We're going to build intentionally. We're going to stay disciplined. And we're going to protect your future self, which is what this is all about. So step 5, which is beautiful. We're growing, but we're growing with purpose. And that leads us all the way back to the beginning. Because as I said in the beginning, we talked about a legacy plan left by this lovely Stevens family to create a medical school in Santa Clara aligned with Sutter Health. Bravo. But how do you get there? And with the end in sight, I think of tithing. I put together my estate plan. And I ask each and every one of you from the day you meet with me to do the same thing. So truly, at the end of the day, wealth without purpose feels empty. Growth should support your life first and not consume it. And money is a tool, not an identity. So we're going to build it intentionally, not emotionally. We know that it requires patience, discipline, and consistency. We know that compound growth will be rewarded in time. We look at the Ibbotson chart. We look at $10,000 invested into the S&P, and we see what can happen. And we see that there's volatility, but volatility is very, very healthy. So compound growth, rewards. We're going to always invest with a long-term purpose. It creates freedom, not financial chaos, and takes away the burnout mentality, because when we go to work, we know that our money is working for us. You will be able to build a life aligned with your values, because the wealth of life is your family, is your health, is your mission, is your peace of mind. We live to be purpose-driven because growth creates stability and impact. We learn to grow slowly and wisely. We avoid chasing appearances. We do not compare. Financial freedom creates choice. And as I said, legacy is built one disciplined step at a time, which is absolutely the most important thing. So we're growing with intention. We're living with balance. We're serving with purpose. And we're creating a legacy that matters. So phase one is complete. So having gone through this, you will have built the foundation. And stability is not the end. It is the foundation. It is the building blocks to where we're going to go from here. But it is all about growth with purpose, wellness, freedom, and the ability to do everything that you want to do in this lifetime, which is my journey with you along the way. So the ability to have purpose, passion, and impact in your life and the life of others. I am honored at J. Oliver Maxwell to be able to present this to you as the Attard methodology. Phase 2 is next, but for right now, where we are today is that financial stability is not the end goal. It is the starting foundation that allows the caregiver to survive, to heal, to lead, and to live with purpose. I invite you, all of you, to complete a financial fitness questionnaire. On Asset Map, you can just take this URL and plug it in, and it will take you there, or the QR code. And definitely, I invite you to ask yourself, are you ready to commit to growth and change? And if you are, contact me. I am a mentor. I am a guide. I will definitely hold you accountable. And I'm very, very well connected with the healthcare world, that I understand who you are and where you're coming from. And I look forward to meeting you. So thank you. Any comments you have, please leave them. I look forward to putting part 1 out there. But for right now, we've completed part 1. And let's let this all sink in, and I hope you have a marvelous, marvelous day. Thank you. Thank you. Put yourself first. Care for yourself. Take that oxygen. Whatever you vividly imagine and truly believe will come to pass. Jan Attard. J. Oliver Maxwell, LLC. the Attard methodology.